MRW, up or down, balls up, balls down, POD.
Which side is the sun, man? Are we serving?
Wait, which way is up?
Spin the racket.
Welcome back to Spin the Racket, the recreational tennis pod, covering everything from the Pro Tour to the everyday league player. I'm your boy G.
And I'm Lou.
Today, we're joined by Jonathyn Young from XXL Tennis. He wears many hats, working as a marketing leader for the USTA Southern. He's also the co-CEO of On Brand, and I'm sure he has a whole host of other things that he's doing. But Jonathyn, welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
For sure. No, we're happy to have you here. Every time we have a guest, we always ask them the same question here to start off. Would you rather have no serve or no forehand?
No serve.
Tell us more.
Tell us. Okay. Well, I've had a mighty journey with my forehand. From the moment I stepped in front of the camera until now, I have tweaked my forehand. My serve is a big serve. It is a big serve, but it has let me down more times than my forehand.
That is fair. I feel like it's probably like split on these answers now, right, Lou?
Yeah. I think it's leaning more towards having no serve camp. We still don't have a count on it, but yeah, man, I appreciate the answer. Thanks for joining the no serve camp.
All right.
Yeah,
it's good to be a part of the no serve camp.
There you go. Forehand slingers all the way. Yeah.
Yes.
Trying to grind the points.
Exactly. Well, on my end, not so much grind. I'm ending the point very fast, but yes.
I feel that. Well, Jonathyn, we love your content. We know you have a deep tennis background. Walk us through that. Like, when you start playing tennis? How'd you get into the sport?
Of course. Well, I started playing tennis when I was 5 years old through an NJTL. At that time, it was called National Tennis and Leadership, or Leaders. Now it's called National Tennis and Learning. But with National Tennis and Learning, we basically take inner city kids and teach them through the sport of tennis, or keep them off the streets with tennis. At least that's what it was when I grew up. I remember I was coming out of I lived in the projects. I was coming out of my building, and a coach right in front of me, his name is David Kimani. He comes in with a paper and says, "Hey, you want to sign up for tennis?" I'm like, "Sure." Take it to my mom. She signs the paper. And I really don't remember anything after that. It was more like summers of tennis and just seasons of tennis and just trying to have fun. But soon enough, it was more about learning. They added the educational piece. That program was called NORA Grassroots, and then now NORA Grassroots Tennis and Education, because they found out we were good enough to play on our high school team, and not just good enough to play, but dominate on our high school team. But we didn't have the grades, or didn't have the just know-how of like what could we do to keep up our grades to get on the team or be successful. So they turned it into tennis, NORC Tennis and Education. So played high school, played number 2 on my team, and then I was gonna go to school for performing arts, but then my aunt decided to say, "Hey, you can play tennis in school, right?" I was like, "We can do that." Where's that at? Where I grew up, you didn't know. You didn't know that you could play,
right.
That our counselors didn't know. I remember having to get through NCAA clearinghouse, because I got a scholarship to Division II, and my coach was like, "Hey, you got to get through clearinghouse." Okay, cool. About a week or so later, trying to get through clearinghouse, my counselor was just underwater with trying to get us through clearinghouse. He didn't know. And we didn't need the sciences that they needed, or the number of science classes that they needed. So I was redshirted my freshman year. Luckily, I had a coach that worked with me. He was able to take me in. I could practice. I could get aided, but I couldn't play any matches, which was a bummer, but it was fine. It was a good like smooth transition into it.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like we have a similar background in the sense of both kind of going through these NJTLs in terms of starting tennis. Like, that's kind of how I initially got my start. Was this organization called DD&J in Columbia, South Carolina, and they taught me how to play tennis, which was pretty cool. I'm curious, just for you. I mean, obviously, tennis is not the cheapest sport. It's not the sport that like every black kid has access to, like that sort of thing. Like, what was that like growing up and trying to make it in the sport?
Well, we were very fortunate. Everything for our program was free. So as long as you lived under the poverty line, everything that you had in the program was free. So all of our rackets were donated, all the balls were donated, pretty much everything was donated. And when you're up right now, that's probably one of the largest NJTLs in the Northeast, only because of where we are. We're right in between Connecticut, or in Connecticut, but close to New York. So we get a lot of like private donors. Yeah.
When did you so walk us through a little bit of that, like what happened with your college career? Like I know you kind of mentioned the freshman year, but like how was that? How was it going to school playing tennis? Like what how did that affect like the workload for school, all that?
It was definitely different, but you had to keep your grades up to stay on the team. And the tennis team was a stickler for having good grades, and like our GPA was high as a tennis team. So if you weren't doing well, your other teammates were like, "Yeah, you got to do better. We don't want to bring our GPA overall down." So it was definitely, and then it was definitely, I'll say, how do you say this? A lot, only because I had a lot of international students on my team. And international students being like, um, they work fairly hard. They work fairly hard. Like we're Americans a little lazy, and they all had like 3.7s, 4.0 GPAs, and it's just like, guys, I'm gonna keep up with y'all, but like y'all gonna need to help me here. Some classes came easy, some didn't. Math classes came easy. I am a CIS major, so that everything tech came easy. But other like it's crazy how international students blow us out of the water with even English. It's just their work ethic is a little different.
That's cool though. I mean, it's like that saying that says like, you become like the five people you spend the most time with. It's like, obviously you were surrounded by a good group of people that kind of, they put the pressure on just like they would in tennis, but it's like
Yeah.
performing and yeah, I mean, you kind of have to, right? If all your teammates are like killing it, you're like, hey, what am I doing, bro? Like,
Exactly.
let's get to it.
Exactly. And I didn't start out as the only American. There was maybe 4 others, but by the time I got to my junior year, I was the only American on the team.
Wow. Do you think the kind of like the skills that you picked up with the NJTL about like again being good in tennis but also keeping up with the grades, did that help you at all in college?
In doubles, that's when my NJTL creeped up. We had a lot of numbers, so we always had to almost always play doubles. There's always 2 people on the court. So when I was in Division 2, doubles points counted as 3 points, versus now they only count as 1 point. So if you can come up on top in doubles 3-0, you only got to win 2 singles. So it was easy after that. And then for work ethic, I have a small story about that. I got kicked off the high school team when I was a sophomore. And again, this is where that NJTL piece came in, the education piece came in. I was kicked off the high school team, and it was absolutely devastating for me. But they got me in front of tutors and people that I could see every day, and I never had anything under a 3.5 ever again.
Wow. That's huge.
Yes.
It's a comeback story right there.
That small comeback story to get kicked off the team. And I think I got kicked off early because it was in between seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't start. But by the time the next quarter ended, I was able to jump on the team. So I was able to finish with the team.
Enough time to where you didn't lose the whole season, basically.
Exactly.
That's cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like in that moment, I'm sure you kind of had a different appreciation for tennis too, and not being able to play, compete at that level, like you're like, hey, I want it back,
Exactly. You take it for granted when you can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
When you can't do it, and we choose not to do it every day, but when we can't do it, that's a totally different thing. It's like the rain today. I chose not. If it didn't rain, probably still chose not to play. But the fact that it's raining now, I'm like, dang, I should have been able to play. I want to play now.
I know. I feel like I try to use that mind trick on me, like going to the gym too. Like some days I'm just like, I really don't feel like doing this, but I'm like, you know what? I get to do this. So I try to psych myself out.
Yes. Psych yourself out, definitely. Especially as a creator now, I try to psych myself out all the time. because I do not want to take out my camera ever. Half of the time, almost every video that you've seen, I've taken out my camera last, and it's probably the worst tennis in that session.
No way. Okay. Is it just
time.
like, what's like the worst part about it? Is it like it's like setting it all up, or like just like having an idea of what to shoot? Like,
yes,
what's the struggle?
It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. Like have an idea of what to shoot because you don't want to consistently do the same thing over and over again. At least I don't. But sometimes that works. And then I also have a background as a photographer, videographer. So I want to set up everything, but then I have to realize like, hey, it's not. This is social media. It moves a little faster. I don't want to set up everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the production is not like, hey, you don't. It doesn't have to be a cinematic shot for Instagram or TikTok, right?
No. Some of the best production value I've had has been the worst videos.
That's crazy. Yeah, we keep hearing that a lot, and it's like, it's more of an output game, right? Than like,
yes.
Hey, trying to make every video perfect. What like when did you realize you wanted to become a content creator? How did that whole thing start?
I still don't want to become a content creator. That was purely by mistake, and I guess this is where the story gets a little crazy, because I was coaching, and I've been coaching for a long time, but I was coaching back home in Connecticut, and I had like one of my kids still needed to go off to college. So I was coaching her and videoing her forehand while the machine was going on. And then while she was taking a break, I didn't want to turn the machine off. So I just started doing forehands in front of the camera. And I don't know why, but I was like, you know what? I'm kind of bored. Why not post it? Why not? Oh, what am I going to name it? XXL Tennis. I've always been a bigger player. Always been a bigger player. So I was like, XXL Tennis, just to show people that, hey, I did play this sport. Like I may not look it, but there's a tennis player under here.
Right.
And it went viral. Like, I remember my friend calling me. He's like, yo, your post went viral. Like, it's going crazy. And I'm like, oh, it was probably like 3K, 4K. No, it was in the hundreds already. And I'm just like,
whoa.
I'm just like, wow, this is a fluke. Nah, this is a fluke. I wake up the next day and we're still talking about it. You know what? I'm going to post something that I took, like, that I've been posting on like my story on my regular page. Post that up there. Same thing, went viral. And I'm like,
jeez.
Okay. About 7 posts later, Venus commented, and I was like, this is not real.
That's insane.
This is not real.
Oh my gosh. I'd be freaking out.
My following steadily kept going up. And at that point, I had more following than both of my other pages, which was my photography page and my videography page. And I'm just sitting here like, this is crazy. Who would have known that something I've done as forever, 20 plus years, now I can post and people will be like, oh my God, how does he do this? Or what are you doing to do this? How long have you been playing? Questions like that. Wow. You also get the negative comments and whatnot, the funny comments or whatever, but it's very interesting. It didn't really hit me until I came down to Atlanta, not to live, but I came down here for the ATL Open, Atlanta Open.
Yep.
And somebody recognized me at the Atlanta Open.
Wow.
He was like, come out and play with me and my boys. I was like, sure. Came out and play because we had drove down. So I had my rackets with me. Came down and play, and I jump on the court, and they're like, you have no idea like how special it feels just to even be on the court with you. And I'm sitting here like, guys, I'm a regular guy.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, yeah. He's one of the coaches sat there and grew up or played with, Chris Eubanks and Taylor Townsend, and he had 130 mile per hour serve. I have a big serve, but not 130 miles per hour serve. No. Maybe the highest I reached was 118. So it's like, y'all can play. Like what about me is so appealing? But it is. And that's when it hit me. Is like, all right, cool. My thing is definitely around inspiration for sure. Yeah. Inspiration, motivation, and that's where I took it to be like, all right, I'm gonna document my journey. Document my journey back on the court. Not too long after that, Technofiber reached out. They're like, hey, we wanna give you some Technofiber and have you rock our brand. Sure, that's fine with me. And then I started to rock the actual XXL Tennis shirt. Because I also had the clothing background at the time. So I was like, why don't I make myself a shirt? Yep. And now we're at 18K. That's kind of how it just goes.
Wow. I mean, that's inspiring to hear. Just like how that happened too, and like you weren't necessarily seeking that attention and just kind of fell into your lap and you're making something out of it.
And then still not seeking that attention. Still not. I really just want to go out there and get better. It's kind of crazy. My work now, it takes me all over the tournaments, and every tournament I go to, somebody comes up to me. If not a few people come up to me, get a picture, and it's like I'm a regular guy, I tell
Yeah.
them all the time. If I meet them in person, hey, message me so I make sure I'm following you back because I know you. I see you now. Like, you know what I mean? This is the tennis community. So the tennis community is vast, but also small at the same time.
Yep.
Mhm.
For sure. And
It's
like
a
what?
big small industry.
Yeah. What year was that? So like, just give us like a timeline. When did that first drop in terms of that post, and like when did it kind of get ramp up for you?
April 2024.
Wow.
Yes.
That's like it's like yesterday, like 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure one of my buddies send me one of your videos.
Yeah.
I just remember a bigger guy just ripping the ball, and I was like, it's like it's one of those like you could tell by the footwork. I'm like, yeah, man knows how to play. You know what I mean? Like you could
Yes.
tell by the split step, the footwork, all that. It's like it doesn't matter what you look like, what you weigh, nothing. It's like you got the fundamentals. You can play tennis. It doesn't really matter. So I was like, dang, all right, like that's sick. Man's hitting clean. Clean tennis.
Thank you. I
Do you
appreciate it.
think like tennis has like an image problem, and like is there like a misconception around that in tennis?
Yes and no, and I'll explain. Tennis itself, yes, does have an image problem, only because there are bigger players. We've seen it happen. Serena, Taylor Townsend, they can move though. They can move. They can cover the court. But when you don't fit that mold, it is. Tennis players seem to look at you a little differently, and I've got those looks all through college until they see me move and hit. It was that. It was literally that judgment of like, he can't be a tennis player. But I also say no, because you think about the high levels. To do what they do at a high level for a male tennis player, you have to be fit. You have to be really fit. Yeah, I can go out there and do some damage at 4-4-0, 4-5, maybe even a little further down the line when I'm like 40 pounds lighter at a 5-0 level, but nah. Not the way professionals do it. Not the way they do it, because they're just so fit, so fit.
Yeah, you think like the sport, it requires you to be like a certain, like no matter what, the amount of training, the amount of like physicality you need to have, your body naturally goes a certain direction, right? Like you just have to be like lean and mean, basically,
Lean.
in order to last. I mean, nowadays, we know this, and not to get like super controversial, but we talk about like the balls being slower, tennis getting more physical, points getting longer. Is it better for entertainment? I don't know, but it's like when you think about it, like it is highly physical. We were just talking to somebody this weekend about that, and they were like, yeah, it's not longer just about technique and all that. It's like, can you outlast the other player? And you need a certain body for that. You know what I mean? To stay healthy too.
Yes, exactly. So that's where yes, we do. If you take tennis 10 years ago, still image problem. Tennis now though, you really can't do anything unless you are that fit. We've come to a point where everyone wants to be at the top, and fitness kind of just overholds people. It's there. Even when we talk about number 2 in the world, Yannick Sinner, right? As that Indian Wells match was getting a little deeper, you can see him starting to cramp up in his right arm. It is a physical sport when you get up there and that level. Talk about Taylor Fritz, right? He makes the sport physical as well. He may hit big, he may hit really big, but that is that's a very good question. I feel like we could talk about this for a while. That's a very good question.
I know. I mean, the thing you brought up was around like Taylor Townsend and Serena. Like I remember, growing up and watching them play and like reading about those controversies and about kind of, Taylor going up against the USTA and them saying, hey, you can't play because you're not fit, and it kind of thinking about like the body image and just how people are built differently too. And I think it was interesting to see kind of all that take place. And maybe now it's better and people are more understanding and inclusive in different ways. But I remember that being like a big question mark and something that we would talk about in our community.
Yeah. And then I'm thinking of like the older Songa. He was a bigger player. But even then, he can only go so far against the greats. And it was always in that final set. We talk about you can talk about Masters 1000s all the time. The Masters 1000s is anybody's game. But when you talk about the Grand Slams, it is who can last longer. It is who had an easier time when they got to the quarterfinals.
Yeah. Yeah. Who had the least amount of like hours on court, who could manage the most hours on court. And it's like it's a mentally demanding like endurance battle,
And then you talk about the slower balls and everything. That's why you have Carlos Alcaraz saying he's probably not going to last to 35. The sport is so demanding. He doesn't want to play at 35. The sport is so demanding.
Yeah, you see a Djokovic just like, how have you made it, dude? Like, I mean, guy is so zen, It's like, I mean, that's what it takes. But is everyone willing to put in that work, that amount of sacrifice, lifestyle sacrifice to
Exactly.
last in the sport that long? I don't know. I don't think Carlos is that kind of person. He definitely values like that work-life balance. So
yes, and still number one in the world.
Yeah, crazy, right? Like when you can be that
Who says you
good,
can't do it all?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Great talent.
Yeah.
So you mentioned obviously it sounds like you've already kind of identified which is awesome to see that you've identified your sort of like your niche, right? It's like, hey, I'm going to be inspirational to my audience. Like what does that mean? Like what's XXL tennis mean? Like what as far as like a mission for you?
A mission?
What's your mission here?
That's a great question. Oh man, this is the first time I've been asked that question. What, 2 interviews later? Okay. Mission. Really, honestly, it's a very close mission to the USTA. Like just promote the sport in general, but promote it as anyone can do it. Anyone, it's for anyone. It's not just for the people who can look like they play the sport. No, it's for anyone that can do it. And trying to motivate people just to see that, like, because of your size or your shape or whatever, it doesn't matter. And that should really focus on any sport, not just tennis. But tennis is my outlet, so therefore it's easier to say that for tennis. Because I've always, I can show you pictures when I was in college. I've always been bigger than the rest. I don't think I've ever been under an actual 2XL shirt. And I played a sport. I played a sport at a high level back then. I played a sport at a decent level now. And I'm not even at my playing weight when I was back in college. If I was playing at my playing weight when I was back in college, I would probably be playing some good open tournaments right now. But it's just because I'm bigger than your average tennis player does not mean I can't move, does not mean I can't hit, does not mean my technique is off. It doesn't mean any of that. So it's a long mission statement, but that's where I get to when I get into the weeds of like what I do. And for me, it's journey first. It's my journey. So if my journey stops, this all stops. It doesn't, like, that's where it's like I'm not here for the following. I'm not here for, things going viral. I'm here to show people, you can do this, but at the same time, it's my journey.
Yeah.
That's it.
How have you thought about ways in terms of giving back to the community, whether it's the NJTL that you kind of grew up with, or helping with kids? Like I know you seem pretty active in general. I know we met you through Marcus Gilliam through NetGains Tennis as an example. Like what are some of the ways that you're plugged in as it relates to the community?
Well, through my job through USTA, I hope to visit a lot of NJTLs while I'm down here. And that's because of my background, and they also see me on social media. So why not take that and hopefully inspire kids that, one, you can do something with the sport past just playing it on the after your afternoons or whatever, and then two, show them that, like, even if you don't make it as far as you want, there are other avenues. You can play this sport and have fun, right? It doesn't need to be always competition all the time. And that's what I hope to show. That's what I hope to show. Even with our friend Marcus, I already talked to him about going to see some NJTLs and going to put on
Nice.
some structures. I'm gonna take
Yeah.
him to very, very cold Connecticut and make sure he meets
Which
my
month?
NJTL. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that's where. Yeah, that's depending on the month. It depends on how spicy it's gonna get, right?
Yes, exactly. There have been times he's like, "Hey, I think our friend Buddy, he's like, "Hey, let's go to Ohio." He's like, "How cold is it up there?" Like, if it's too cold, I'm not coming out of the airport. I'm telling you this now. He is
That's
not
funny.
for the cold.
Yeah, I didn't realize. Yeah, I guess he's not built that way.
No.
That's funny. I could have sworn he was for the Colt because, like, when we met him, at the ATL kickoff, like, it was. I mean, let's be honest, it was a little chilly,
He complained the whole time.
Oh, really? All right. Well, he did a good job of, like, not showing it to anybody else, but
Yes.
that's funny. That's funny. Yeah,
He is not
that's
for the cold.
hilarious.
But I get it.
Uh,
Born and raised down here, I'm okay with the cold.
Well, I think I also, and I always say this: we were down in Florida for an event, and I was just like, why don't we just have more indoor courts in Atlanta? Like, it just feels like you hit Tennessee, and then all of a sudden, like, there's absolutely no indoor tennis courts. There's like a couple facilities in Atlanta that have them, and then it's like that's it. Like, people here don't know what playing indoor feels like, and so when the winter comes around, like, I've played in 26-degree weather, like, that stuff sucks, man. Like, I feel
Yes.
like I've dealt with a wrist injury playing that way. Like the wrist is taped up. I've got a wrist wrap, and the ball feels like a baseball. So I'm like, why do we have to do this? Can we just play indoor? Can you give me a bubble, man? Like, we have an infrastructure
Something.
problem in the South. That is for sure. Like, we're kind of the middle child, right? Like, it doesn't get as cold as, like, maybe Tennessee and up. So we don't have the infrastructure, but it's also not South Florida.
No.
So it's like we're just kind of stuck in the middle. And that I rest my case on that. But that's definitely one of those pieces that just gets on my nerves. Because it's nice playing indoor.
It is
I
nice
found out a
playing
couple
indoor.
years ago. Yeah.
It is nice playing indoor, but I will say this, right? When I came down here, I didn't expect it to. I expected it to get cold, but I didn't expect it to get that cold. And then I was very surprised that it jumps up and down. I'm sitting here, talking to my girlfriend and just saying, I don't know how no one down here gets sick. The other day it was 80 degrees. Now we're
Right.
sitting there in hoodies.
Literally,
And
it's snowing outside.
as much as I love to be like 80 degrees on Christmas Eve, let's go play tennis, that has never happened to me. You miss the indoors. But when there is indoors, it does get packed. At least back home, in Connecticut,
Yeah.
it's indoor facilities are packed 7 a.m. to closing. Like, if you don't have the money or the means to get into an indoor place, you're not doing it.
Bro, tell me about it. I joined Lifetime Fitness so I can go here, and they went from having 8 indoor courts to having 4 because they turned the other 4 into 16 pickleball courts.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm like, Dan, like, I had to play on a Sunday at like 8 p.m. G and I played on a Sunday at like 7 a.m. because it's like the only outlying times that you can book courts like that. So, I mean, whatever, nowadays, screw it. I'll pay at 6 a.m., whatever. Like, I'll wake up before anybody else and I'll go hit indoor. I'd rather do that than go play outdoors and it's like 35 degrees.
Exactly. I definitely
Jeez.
understand that. Some of my indoor videos, especially before I came down to Atlanta, that those were almost at 12 o'clock at night.
I
I had a
can't do it,
couple.
dude. I'd be so tired.
Yeah, like, for the love of the sport. That's what we always say. For the love of the sport, we are out
Yes.
here, rain or
Yes.
shine or 26 degrees or indoor at midnight. Like that's it, whatever.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
Jonathan, shifting gears a little bit, I know I kind of got us off track with that, conversation, but I got a question for you. What do you think like makes tennis cool in 2026, and who do you think is driving that?
Oh, two things. It's the individuality. Individuality is crazy in 2026. I guess it reminds me or makes me think, was it this when you were watching Agassi do his wearing his jeans, like was it like this? But now everyone's doing it. So you see how like, Osaka's coming out on court, Tiafoe's coming out on court.
Yeah.
You see a lot of different things. And then also another thing that makes it cool is the creators around the sport just makes it more interesting, right? I've seen like amazing small creators talk about the sport, and I was like, I can't wait until you make it big, because your voice is just like, you're there. And that nuance of like social media so much being in our sport is so great. It's so great. I think it does so much for our sport. So much for our sport. I'm sorry. Can you ask that question again? Because I want to answer it another way too.
Yeah, what makes tennis cool in 2026, and 2026, and who do you think is driving that?
Yes. What makes tennis cool in 2026 is the access to our sport. The access to our sport, right?
Yep.
When you go online, you can type in tennis into the search box, and you get everyone's opinion. Before the match even ends, you saw a clip of the match. How many times I've been online on social media? It's like, oh wait, I forgot this match was going on.
Yeah.
Let me go watch it right now. Like the access and the speed of the information for our sport is amazing.
Yeah, that's true. Before you couldn't keep up with the match unless you had like a tennis channel or ESPN subscription, all that stuff. Now I mean I don't always get to watch the events live. I know that G always like gives me crap for that because I'm a highlights guy, but sometimes I'll be in the gym and I'll just like Google like, Indian Wells. And then, Google does a really good job of just showing you live scores. And you're literally just there like, hey, between sets, just like, hey, 40-15, is he gonna hold, or what's going to happen? Are they going to break? And so it is pretty cool. I think when you said access, immediately my mind also went to like access to like content on how to play tennis or getting started, right? Like tennis is just a ton more accessible now with the infrastructure that we have across the world than it's ever been. I know that it used to be this like, kind of sheltered country club sort of sport. And now it's like, you can go and learn tennis pretty much anywhere. Like you've got folks like Net Gains Tennis who, make it accessible for like newbie players to get started. So I think that's sick. And then the fact that we have just a whole ecosystem of racket sports in America now. It's not like somebody could think like, oh, well, tennis is like, it's always looked like they might have a misconception of what tennis is and they get started with pickleball because it's easier. And then at some point they might bleed into padel. And then at some point they're like, hey, I want to try tennis too. And so there's like this whole cross pollination of racket sports going on in the US where, I used to be of the opinion that it was like, oh, pickleball is going to take away from tennis. And I was like, well, it's like, it's one versus the other. And it just feels like it's creating like a racket sports community, that can play tennis, can play padel. I can play pickleball with my family and play pickleball with my in-laws, for example. But then if I want to go and be serious, I'll go play Alta with G, and then we'll go 3 hours on one match, because that's how we do it.
Yeah. the forehand grind.
Exactly.
Bro.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly. And I do believe that even though, it's rival between pickleball and tennis, we have to remember that it fundamentals of the game, not so much playing the game, but the clothing, the shoes, for instance, the grips, they're the same. The only thing that's different is a paddle and a ball, right? And the rules of some cases. A lot of the what makes our sport is the same. The access, the thinking that it is, even though it's not anymore, not so much, but thinking that it is a country club sport, that it is a sport that like, hey, I played tennis this Sunday. Right, I played tennis in my nice outfit and hit the ball a couple of times. Like it's still that. It is still that for the beginners, and then we get them once they actually hit the ball. Well, we get them because
Yeah.
tennis is addicting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's
It
true.
is. Yeah, I feel like we're like I say we as like the tennis players. I feel like we're definitely keeping some of the right traditions, but also changing and evolving in other ways too. Like I love like to your point, just around like the whole like country club aspect. I look at it in the more of like the fits that you're wearing, kind of dressing up, looking good on court, playing. Like I love that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. I think that's kind of fly. But like we're also, in terms of who is playing the sport and what people look like playing it, like we're evolving there too, right? We're getting people from different backgrounds. Like anyone could play tennis, and like I love that part.
Yes, exactly.
Just off the dome here, like if there was something that you could change in tennis in 2026, what would it be?
The timing of when the tournaments are. Everything happens at the beginning of the year. Like it's crazy. We just came out of Indian Wells and now Miami. I would like to go to every tournament, but like every tournament in the course of 3 months would be nuts. It is a lot. Like I think our schedule for, I think the only thing that's towards the end is Cincinnati, right? That's the Masters 1000. That's near the end, right before the U.S. Open. I'd rather our schedule be a little bit more spread out, but yeah, beggars can't be choosers. If I feel like if people really wanted tennis all the time, the schedule would get too condensed. People would have to choose. But like that is one thing I would probably change about our sport on that end. The second part is just that image. Just that image that, it is a sport for everyone. We are changing that image. Yes, but how do we get more people to view our sport as a everyone sport, right? I think we in the United States are doing a good job, the healthiest sport, things like that. But there is some time to go. We got some work to do.
Yes. No, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean that's the fun part too about tennis and being the world's healthiest sport and being able to share that and get people to play more because of that. And my goal is to be able to play like to my 70s, 80s. Be out there on the court. Obviously, moving a little bit differently, I'm sure at that time. But I do feel like excited by that. Like you can play this sport like your entire life.
Yes.
To a certain degree.
To a certain degree, yes.
To a certain degree, yeah.
we
to a
can spend
certain
our racket
degree,
the
depends
entire
on-
lives.
Yeah. I know that just shifting gears a little bit. You mentioned how sometimes, and I mean, I can relate, right? I think G and I can relate. Sometimes when you're making content for tennis, it can be like you feel like you're kind of putting the cart before the horse. I think we've shown up to like hitting sessions and we leave the gear in the bags, we shoot, and it's like we get in the car and it's like, oh shoot, we didn't shoot anything. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely a muscle that you have to flex. It's a muscle that you have to build. And sometimes it's not even, I've seen other content creators say that you don't have to always come up with the idea. You can just document what you're doing. And it sounds like you're taking that documentative approach of, hey, I'm going to document the journey. I'm going to put it all out there. Do you have, thinking of that, like, do you have a process for coming up with ideas when you do want to do something specific? Or is it mainly just, hey, I'm going to shoot what I'm doing and it's more documentary style?
I'm getting to more documentary style, but usually I have an idea of what I'm going to shoot. I feel like hitting some cross court backhands today, so I'm gonna just shoot that. But as long as it's as long as I feel comfortable, I'm shooting. Biggest thing about me, which is why I don't post consistently, is if I don't feel up to it, I don't shoot. I'm the goal of me being out there is not to shoot unless it is. I was out there with Marcus. We're playing some doubles, just playing around, and I'm like, all right, we're just gonna play around. Let's shoot. I'm not, here to do anything crazy. Hit some jumping forehands real quick, and that's about it. But when I'm out there trying to grind, if I'm not feeling it, the camera does not come out. Camera does not come out. The focus will change at that point because I know the camera's on me. Oh, I want to look great. No, 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 no. I don't want to. I want to work on what I'm working on. And with that plan of like, oh, what am I gonna do when I get on the court? I don't ever let the shooting drive what I'm doing when I get on the court. I may have an idea of like, hey, I really want to see my forehand cross court. I may do that, but it was the plan of it wasn't to do the shooting. It was more like let's see what my forehand looks like today. There are times where I go out there and there is a plan. There's definitely a plan. When I'm shooting for something like say the saber, there's a plan. I know what I'm doing. I know what I need to get done. When I'm shooting for, he had also just made the FT99, which is the racket. I knew what I was gonna do. I think I was playing with Kellen that day. I told him Kellen exactly what we're gonna do, just because But this all again was at the end. I've already, in the summer sweated through a shirt and put on a new one to then go take the video. It's already planned at the end, and it's just if we get there, we get there. If not, it comes on the next day. But at least it's planned for those type of things. But let's just say the post I just posted, that wasn't planned. I know I needed content. I put on the camera, and what I got was what I.
Yep. No, I feel that. I'm curious as we talk about content and you on court and image and what you're wearing and things like that. Like I know you have this company On Brand. Like tell us about that. Like how did that get started? Are you making tennis clothes too?
It's a great question. How did that get started? Well, as a bigger guy, I hated going into stores and looking for my size. Going online, nothing ever fit the same. Doesn't matter doesn't matter if I got it from the same place. So I was like, there has to be an easier way to do this. I was like, oh, just buy my clothes wholesale. And then I see somebody was at work when I was working at Indeed.com at the time. I see somebody with thick lettering on his shirt. And I'm just like, huh. I literally texted my friend and I was like, hey, you want to make a clothing brand? Like
That
she
easy.
was
That easy.
that easy. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. And what's the reason of the clothing brand? To be size inclusive because I'm tired of trying to find clothes. That's just that simple. I like to wear something that means something. On Brand does. You are on brand. And I want it to be consistent. So what's more consistent than getting the same shirt over and over and over again, but designing it differently? Easy. And then if I have this problem, and I'm a different build, I'm a big athletic build, so I'm taller in some places and wider in other places. But I know if I'm having this problem, other people are also having this problem. So I was like, all right, let's make this into a size inclusive brand. But with every size inclusive brand, it is definitely hard. It is not an easy thing. Wholesalers are not on your side. The goal is to get to the manufacturers so you can, tell them what you want versus you looking for what you want. And trying to make sure you keep up with the trends and things like that. That's not necessarily what I'm here for. I'm here to make things a little bit more comfortable and having some meaning to it. That's really it.
Just but we have a fun segment that we're gonna take you to. But before that, I want to get one question out because I felt like I think you would have a good answer for this. But what content are you tired of seeing on social
What content
media?
am I tired of seeing?
Yeah, as it relates to tennis, but it could be in general. I don't know. Maybe you can answer both ways.
All right. This might single somebody out, but bashing other content creators is not for me. It's just not. I can't get behind it. I'm tired of like there are people who make their platform based off of just spotlighting or bashing other content creators or coaches, I hate to say, but it's not it's not for me. And then other content that I'm tired of seeing, I don't think so. I don't think I'm tired of seeing anything else. Like I think content evolves as we get into it, right? So the people who were doing the same thing over and over again were forced to change, especially after 2020. They were forced to. There's no way you're doing the same content from way back when. And the way our algorithms move, I may follow somebody now that I never see again after this week because I never run into their stuff again. Right? That's just the way it moves.
Crazy.
That's the way it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But in the content of tennis, yeah, I can't get behind the whole, beef and bashing thing. I can't do it. It's just not for me. I get it, as a tennis player, as somebody who's been coaching since I was 13. Yeah, some things are wrong, but let them create. Like, we talk about the infamous tennis god,
But
and let them create. Some people like them, some people don't. Let them create.
But do you think there is such a thing as like universally bad advice though?
Oh yes, absolutely. There's definitely universally bad advice, but do we have to shun somebody for it? I don't think so. And then not everything, and I hate to talk about tennis god at all, but not everything that he's ever said in life has been wrong. Right? There's aspects to it. There's different things to it. But
we like to place people in buckets, man. And
yes. Yeah. It's I would never ever probably become a coach on social media because of this. Like I would probably keep that so quiet unless I had the greatest acolytes in the world. I'll probably keep that so quiet that I'm coaching. And that to me is it's everyone likes drama. That's all good and great. But as a tennis player, seeing it over and over and over again,
out with it.
Love it. Well, we have a segment here we call Quick Hands. So basically, we ask you a question, kind of get your quick reaction. You can, qualify it with like, a sentence or two if you want to add some little description to it. But I think you'll like it.
All right, let's do it. Hopefully, I can think quick on my feet here.
I love it. All right, first question. Would you rather get Sorry, let me ask it again. First question. Would you rather bagel a friend or get bageled by a stranger?
Bagel a friend. and then talk about it in the group chat the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah. Random group chat text. Random group. Hey, so and so. You want to tell them what happened tonight? You want me to tell them which one? Yeah.
What's your go-to tennis hot take?
Can I get an example?
Like mixed doubles is the best format of tennis or something like that.
I don't know. That's a great question. I do not know. Hold on.
Bro, we hit a winner. On him. that was straight up banana passing shot right there.
I love it. All right,
I have no idea. Hold on. We got to come back to that one. Hot take.
Yeah, we'll pass. We'll give you some brain think about it, and then you come back to it.
Yes.
All right. What's one habit you stole from someone else's game?
Oh, I can name like 4 or 5. Not so much somebody else's game. I just sold some of their little quirks. Spinning the racket on the finger.
Okay.
Big time. I stole that from my coach, my college coach. I think he kept doing it. And when I first got there, I learned it in the summer. I was like, yeah, I got it now. And another one was you ever flip the racket, you try to keep it flat like a pancake?
Yeah.
Stole that from a friend of mine.
I can't do it though.
I can do it maybe half of the time.
Wait, what do you mean by that? Like flip the rack and keep it flat? Like
flat. So you take this cell phone and it just stays like this the whole time while you flip it. Versus when you flip it, it's gonna do this for some reason. It's gonna spin. I think we got him. I think
yeah. You got me booting up right now, bro.
He's gonna be on YouTube later, like just flat, tennis racket,
flat
spins.
like a pancake. It's like just get the wrong search output.
I love it.
Well, yeah, those two, yeah, definitely stolen. I didn't take it, but yeah, stolen.
All right, automatic line calling. Love it or kill it?
Love it. We have this thing in our game where it's speed over everything, and it speeds up the game. It speeds up the game. There's not much arguing. Yeah, we have, the what's it called when they replay, the virtual replays, but
Yep.
there's a VAR. But when that line thing says out, they're like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, next.
Yeah, it's
It
like
speeds up the
final.
game. Our game is already slowed down regardless, but that speeds it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate that, there are jobs lost from it, but I think it's what it was needed. I think, it was
Yeah.
needed.
Fair.
What are
All
your
right.
thoughts? Wait a second. I want to know your thoughts on that one.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the next one.
That's funny. So for me, I tolerate it. I accept it as it's a necessary part of the evolution of the game. As a fan and someone who enjoys a little controversy, I kind of miss the arguing with the umpires a little bit. I mean, obviously not to the detriment of a player where they're getting cheated on something necessarily, but hey, everything in tennis doesn't always go your way. So kind of just seeing how people react to that and some of the drama that comes through it, I enjoyed a little bit of that.
Love it. I'm all
Love it.
for the evolution of the game. I'm all for technology. I've seen it I've seen it be erroneous, where it's just the machine would just start tripping, and I'm just well, it's as with anything, right? It's part of the evolution. They gotta test drive it on real tournaments, but it's all about the execution, right? So it's could you let's say if you compare a good line judge to a faulty butt,
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have the line judge. But if the flawless technology is out there, then by all means let's go with what's new, automatic line calling. Love it.
All right. Yeah.
I do like what the Aussie Open did this year, where when the ball would be out, the net would change different color too, the net post. Do you remember that? It would go red.
That was clean.
That's super helpful because a lot of times, sometimes you can't even hear it. So I'm looking at the players to try to see or listen to the commentator what happened there. So as a viewing experience, that was really cool.
Yeah, and I do think with that evolution brought the VAR. Am I saying that right? VAR.
Yeah, I think that's what they call it.
Yeah.
I think that's what they brought that. And without that, we probably wouldn't have the controversial thing we have now.
Right.
As an example, I forget who was it. FAA got his controversial thing. There's another one that just happened, I think, at Indian Wells, where I think it was Draper.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Draper Medvedev.
Yeah, Draper Medvedev. Wrong call, but you get that talk. You get that drama. Unfortunately, drama is good for any sport, but that's just how we live. It's just good.
It is what it
you
is.
see it online.
Yeah.
It's on Tennis Channel.
Yeah, bro, this is gonna make it a tennis TV or whatever.
Tennis TV. Yeah,
always. That's so funny. All right, next one. If you could change one rule in tennis to make it more entertaining, what would that be?
2 bounces. I know that I know that's a weird a wheelchair rule, but have you ever played a game with 2 bounces?
I just did this weekend. It was wild. I kept letting it bounce once. I kept forgetting.
Yes. If the ball can bounce twice, it's a very interesting game. And it's fun. It'll be very long.
We'd be there all day.
But it's just so interesting. To play, to watch, to be a part of. Yes, very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you imagine the amount of retirements.
Yes.
It's
I'm done.
Yeah, my shoulder just fell off. My shoulder retired for me.
Oh man, I think people would probably move to the net a little faster.
Yes.
Just to cut off the ball.
That's true. All right, last question here. Who's the next men's slam winner, Sinner or Alcaraz?
Alcaraz. We are going towards the clay season. That's it. If we were going the other direction, I maybe, but Sorry.
Yep.
He's out there. He's out there practicing his high forehands right now.
That's true.
And the pace he gets on the ball this is a different being that we are seeing right now. Yeah, center is different. Center is very different. He's very just different. But when we talk about explosiveness and everything like that,
notice how his tone changed, Jonathyn. The moment you were like,
yes.
He was like, hold on, let me roll up my sleeves and tell you about him, mate. That's great.
Yeah,
that's great, man.
I was very surprised. Like if Medvedev won, was it last night? I'd have been like, is he gonna get through both of them? Wait a second. If he got to the second set and took center to a third set, that heat,
that was gonna be interesting.
It was anybody's game. Anybody's game.
Yeah.
But center was like, nope, crack 4 balls. I was like, all right, this is it.
That was insane. Like he was down 4-love, 7 straight points. Like, are you kidding me? Like that's
just. He was like,
the men, well, people say the men still got another gear. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like he does have that extra gear. It's just like most of the time, the regular gear works with most players. Insane, man. It's insane.
If he can figure out how to shorten points, he is dangerous. He is dangerous, but he's not. He has to figure it out, especially against Alcaraz. He has to figure it out because Alcaraz is going to shorten the point. Or he's going to make every point feel so long that you feel like you have to go for more. Alcaraz is just I don't know where he came from. Not where he came from. I don't know who what he was eating when he was younger. I don't know what they fed him. What they fed him, but oh my God, that's like I would. If I was anyone else on the tour, every time I would see one of them, I'd just be like, all right, I'm about to have fun.
We just gotta go to Spain and train for like a whole summer. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Come out 2 levels better. It's like, what the hell?
This guy is different. Both of them are different. But
Alcaraz
is he's giving us Nadal and Federer at the same time.
And that begs the question of like, what's next? So there's always another player that's like in the wings, about to be that next one. So like, who's the next Alcaraz and Sinner, merge together coming up? It's kind of scary.
And it wasn't me, or did it feel like they came out of nowhere?
Yeah, no,
I remember blinking and they were just, "Hey, I'm here." I remember thinking that, like, Sasha, Medvedev, they're gonna be the next. Nope.
Yeah,
no, I've been tracking Alcaraz since like what was it, like 2020, I think. So I had my eye on the guy. I was like, all right, he's coming up, he's legit, all that stuff. I went to see him at the 2021 U.S. Open, and unfortunately, he had to retire, but. I've been following him more than I've been following Sinner. My dad, on the other hand, he's a big tennis fan too. He's just always been like, that guy Sinner, he's going places. He would always say that, and I was like, who's this guy? Whatever. But like, was I wrong? Right? Like, yeah,
exactly.
I guess my dad, he knew something I didn't. But it's been a pretty meteoric. What's the? Oh my gosh. There you go. Thank you. Rice. Yeah. So, Jonathyn, we're coming into an end. We're going to give you the floor for 1 minute. Where can people find you? What are you working on right now? What's coming up next? And any message you want to leave the Spin the Racket audience with?
Where can they find me? XXL Tennis, all platforms. What am I working on now? I got to keep that under wraps. You'll see that a little later. Just want to let everybody know I am doing a racket change. I'm doing a racket change. It is not a secret. Okay. It's not a secret, but I'm not announcing yet. What do I want to leave with the Spin the Racket audience? Tennis, though we have a shape to us, it is for everybody. It's for everybody. So it doesn't matter what age you start. It doesn't matter how you start. Grab a racket. Go find your local club or local team or local CTA and go play.
Yep. I love that.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
All right. With that, I'm Luke.
I'm G. Keep on spinning.